The forest floor, 70 million years ago, is a tapestry of damp earth and decaying ferns. The air, thick and heavy, carries the scent of pine and wet soil. You are low to the ground, hidden in the undergrowth, where every snap of a twig signals a life or death decision. A sudden silence falls, a profound hush that drowns out the hum of insects and the distant calls of birds. This is the silence of fear. It's the silence that precedes a titan. A low rumble vibrates through your chest, a sound deeper than thunder. Ahead, through a screen of giant leaves, a shadow detaches itself from the darker shadows of the trees. It's a Tarbosaurus, a 7-ton engine of muscle and teeth, the apex predator of this world. Its massive head, the size of a small car, swings slowly, nostrils flaring as it tastes the air. It's hunting. The air crackles with this unspoken tension, a primordial stillness before the storm. Ever wonder what it truly felt like to stand in the shadow of such impossible creatures? To feel the very ground quake beneath their feet? It's a reality so far removed from our own, yet etched into the bones of the earth itself. We'd love to know where you're joining us from on this journey today, and which prehistoric marvel captivates your imagination the most. Drop a comment below and become part of our expedition. Now, let's journey back in time and uncover the story of a lost world. The great Tyrannosaur takes a deliberate step, its 3-toed, foot-crushing saplings with an indifferent crunch. It has a scent now. Something large, something different. It moves with a terrifying confidence, drawn toward a clearing just ahead. You can sense its anticipation, the coiling of immense power in its hind legs. It expects a meal, perhaps a lumbering hadrosaur, or a thick-skinned ankylosaur caught unawares. The predator lowers its head, peering through the last veil of ferns. But what it sees stops it cold. There is no panicked flight, no bellow of a creature cornered. Instead, there is only a strange, almost serene sound. A long, rhythmic scrape. Scrape, scrape. A flash of movement catches the light. Not teeth, not horn, but something impossibly long, curved like a scythe, as it casually strips leaves from a high branch. The predator freezes, its hunter's instinct clashing with a sudden, primal confusion. What is this thing? The creature turns its head, and the illusion of a monster shatters, replaced by sheer absurdity. It has a small skull, perched atop a ridiculously long, slender neck, like a feathered serpent. Its body is a giant, pot-bellied barrel, wider than it is tall, suggesting a gut built for fermenting enormous quantities of plant matter. The shaggy coat of primitive feathers covers its body, more for insulation than for flight, giving it the appearance of a colossal, prehistoric turkey. This is Therizinosaurus cheloniformis, the Scythe lizard, an animal so strange, it feels like a biological contradiction. It belongs to the theropods, the same group of dinosaurs as the Tarbosaurus, watching it from the shadows. But somewhere along its evolutionary journey, it abandoned its family's meat-eating legacy entirely. It is a vegetarian in a clan of killers. And then there are the claws. You can see them clearly now, 3 on each hand, extending from powerful forelimbs. They are not the wickedly hooked talons of a raptor, designed for tearing flesh. These are different, They are elegantly curved, almost delicate in their shape, yet immense in their scale. At up to a meter in length, they are the longest claws of any animal that has ever lived on Earth. They are less like daggers and more like gigantic scythes, gleaming in the dappled sunlight. For decades, these claws were a mystery, found without a body, baffling paleontologists who imagined them belonging to some gargantuan, turtle-like predator. Now, attached to this bizarre, pot-bellied herbivore, they make even less sense. This strange drama unfolds in the lush floodplain environment of the Nemegt Formation in what is now Mongolia's Gobi Desert. 70 million years ago, this was no desert. It was a well-watered paradise of winding rivers and thick forests, a perfect home for a large-bodied plant eater. But it was also home to packs of raptors and the undisputed king, Tarbosaurus. This brings us to the central question. The great paradox of this animal's existence. Why? Why evolve such terrifying, seemingly lethal weapons if your diet consists of leaves and twigs? In a world of specialized hunters and armored prey, this creature seems to defy all logic. So, how did a walking contradiction like Therizinosaurus survive, let alone thrive, in one of the most dangerous ecosystems of the late Cretaceous? To answer that question, you have to look past the menacing silhouette and become a fossil detective. The clues are all there, locked in its bones, telling the story of how to be a vegetarian pacifist in a world that respects only strength. Let's start with the most obvious feature, the claws. When you hold a replica of a single bony core, it's nearly the length of your arm. In life, it would have been covered by a sheath of keratin, just like our fingernails or a bird's talon, making it even longer, sharper, and more formidable. But were they designed for killing? The evidence says no. Biomechanical studies suggest that for all their size, they were structurally weak at the base. Slashing them with full force into a struggling, multi-ton animal would have risked snapping them off, a catastrophic injury. So, if not for attack, what were they for? Their primary job was likely far more mundane. They were gardening tools. Imagine a 5-ton animal with a 10-foot arm span. Therizinosaurus could stand at the base of a tree, reach high into the canopy with those long arms, hook the claws over a thick branch, and simply pull. With a mighty heave of its powerful torso, it could bend entire limbs down to its beaked mouth, giving it access to tender leaves far beyond the reach of its herbivorous neighbors. It was a walking, high-reaching pruning machine, occupying a unique niche similar to a giant ground sloth. Of course, a tool for pulling leaves can also serve other purposes. And this is the secret to its survival. Those claws, combined with its long arm reach, created a lethal defensive arc of nearly 16 feet around its front. They weren't weapons for a premeditated hunt. They were instruments of deterrence. They were a giant, flashing sign to any predator that getting close enough to land a bite meant crossing a barrier of 3-foot-long blades. The rest of its skeleton confirms this peaceful lifestyle. Its enormous, basin-like hips were built to support a colossal digestive tract, a fermentation vat needed to break down tough plant cellulose. Its feet were broad and sturdy, designed to bear weight, not to chase prey. And its small skull held only simple, leaf-shaped teeth, perfect for shredding foliage, but useless for tearing flesh. The forensic evidence is clear. You are looking at a creature built from the ground up to eat plants, whose deadliest weapon was simply a repurposed tool for getting a meal. So let's return to our standoff in the forest, where the evidence meets the instinct of a hungry killer. The Tarbosaurus has been watching, processing. It sees a 5-ton slab of protein, seemingly oblivious, its back partially turned. The predator's hunger overrides its confusion. In its mind, anything that isn't actively fighting back is a potential meal. It decides to press the attack. Lowering its massive head, it unleashes a deafening roar. A blast of sound designed to shatter nerves and trigger blind panic. Most herbivores would bolt, and the chase would begin. But the Therizinosaurus does not run. Slowly, deliberately, it stops pulling at its branch. It turns, planting its broad feet firmly on the ground. The movement is not one of fear, but of grim resolution. It draws itself up to its full height, towering over 10 feet tall, and does something chilling. It extends its powerful arms out to the sides, spreading them wide like immense wings. The gesture showcases the full, terrifying 3-foot span of its claws, a palisade of gleaming keratin. It is a silent, unmistakable warning. This is the price of admission. Are you sure you want to pay it? The air grows thick with tension. The Tyrannosaur, momentarily surprised by the lack of fear, hesitates. But its empty stomach makes the final decision. It lunges. A feint to the right, then a powerful charge aimed at the herbivore's exposed flank, trying to get inside the arc of those deadly arms. The Tarbosaurus opens its jaws, a living wood chipper of 6-inch teeth, ready to shear through flesh and bone. But the Scythe lizard is ready. It pivots on its wide hips with surprising grace. It doesn't meet the charge with equal ferocity. Instead, it makes a single, sweeping swipe with its left arm. It's a movement born of pure, defensive instinct. The sound is horrific. A wet, tearing noise as a meter of claw rakes across the predator's face and shoulder. The goal was never to kill, only to repel. Deep gashes are gouged into the Tyrannosaur's tough hide, and it stumbles back with a scream of pain and shock. It stares at the herbivore, blood streaming from its wounds. The calculation has been made. The fight is not worth it. With a final, frustrated roar, the king of the Cretaceous forest retreats into the shadows, leaving the gentle giant to its meal. The forest clearing falls silent once more. The only sounds are the gentle rustle of leaves and the soft tearing noise as the Therizinosaurus resumes its meal. The encounter, as violent as it was not a battle for supremacy. It was a simple, brutal negotiation of risk versus reward, and the predator decided the risk was too great. What you have just witnessed is the culmination of millions of years of evolution, a masterclass in defensive strategy. Therizinosaurus teaches us a profound lesson about the nature of survival. It wasn't the strongest, the fastest, or the most aggressive creature in its environment. It didn't need to be. It survived by becoming one of the most difficult and dangerous animals to attack. It was a living fortress, a walking embodiment of passive resistance backed by terrifying consequences. This is a classic example of an evolutionary arms race. As predators like Tarbosaurus evolved more powerful bites and keener senses, their prey had to evolve new ways to counter them. While ankylosaurs developed body armor and ceratopsians grew defensive horns, Therizinosaurus took a different path. It transformed a tool for gathering food into a near impenetrable defensive screen. Its entire existence was a calculated deterrent. It didn't win fights by killing its enemies. It won by convincing them that a fight was never worth starting. This bizarre, feathered creature, once a puzzle to the scientists who discovered its bones, now stands as a powerful testament to the sheer creative force of natural selection. It proves that there is no single blueprint for success, and that sometimes the most effective weapon is the one you never have to use for its deadliest purpose. The story of Therizinosaurus is not just about one animal, but about a whole family of dinosaurs that chose a different path, thriving for tens of millions of years. It's a reminder that the ancient world was far more complex and wondrous than we can imagine, filled with creatures that defy our simple classifications of predator and prey. What do you think of this remarkable survival strategy? Was it the ultimate form of defense in the late Cretaceous? We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Our exploration of these lost worlds is far from over. In our next journey, we'll leave the land behind and plunge into the depths of the prehistoric oceans to meet a true sea monster that hunted the great marine reptiles. Join us as we uncover the secrets of the mighty Mosasaurus. If you found yourself captivated by the strange tale of the Scythe lizard, make sure you subscribe and ring the notification bell so you don't miss our next adventure. Thank you for joining us.